Wake that ass up. Early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Now, over the weekend, of course, you got the playoffs, the wild card round. Now, the Texans take on the Browns tomorrow at 4:30. The Steelers take on the Bills Sunday at 1. The Dolphins take on the Chiefs at 8. And your Cowboys take on the Packers at 4:30.
The road to the Super Bowl starts for my Dallas Cowboys on Sunday at 4:30 because he already knows.
That's not your team.
He already knows what I know.
Fan.
Let me tell you something that I've been getting asked all week long that I've never been getting asked that I'm taking as a sign. People have been asking me, are you going to the Super Bowl? Not as in my Cowboys, are you? And I said, yes, if my Cowboys go. Do you know something I don't know? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you want to put that, but I feel like you do this every year. But good morning, Tez.
Absolutely do this every year, but that's okay. Hold the line, Charlamagne. Good morning, DJ Envy.
Good morning.
All right, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about this, the U.S. and U.K. carrying out strikes.
Yeah, a lot was going on yesterday. The United States and the UK, as you mentioned, carried out strikes against the Houthi rebels. Let's go to CBS for the report, and I have some more information on the other side.
The United States and the United Kingdom have carried out airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. This comes after the Iranian-backed militia group attacked cargo ships and tankers in the Red Sea. There have been more than 24 attacks since October.
Now, I want you to take a listen to the response by President Biden in the White House. This is the reasoning on why he said he ordered those airstrikes. Take a listen.
He says, today, at my direction, U.S. military forces, together with the United Kingdom and with support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands. I think it's notable that Bahrain assisted here, another Middle East nation, successfully conducted strikes against a number of targets in Yemen used by Houthi rebels to endanger freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways. He says that these strikes are in direct response to Houthi attacks on international maritime vessels. In other words, they are not attacking military vessels. They are simply attacking commercial vessels that are transporting oil, natural gas, and other goods through the Red Sea.
Now, here's where the conflict comes in among leaders. Now, progressive leaders, guys like Representative Roques said that the way the president went about this was the wrong way. He tweeted that in Article 1 of the Constitution, the president needs to come to Congress before launching a strike against Houthi in Yemen and involving us in another Middle East conflict. Also, progressive Congresswoman Representative Rashida Tlaib, she tweeted, the president is violating Article 1 of the Constitution by carrying out airstrikes in Yemen without congressional approval. The American people are tired of endless war. And this is where you get a chance to see, you know, a lot of folks like to say they're progressives, and but this is where you get a chance to see who are really the progressive leaders in Congress and also, you know, our activists who are progressive that will be speaking out against this. So I went and talked to Ohio, former state Ohio Senator Nina Turner, who folks have heard here on the Breakfast Club many times. I want you to take a listen to what she told me.
Article 1 of the Constitution is very clear that he cannot do that without the authorization of Congress, and Congress has not given him any authorization. As a matter of fact, on January 6th of 2020, President Joe Biden tweeted the following. He said, let's be clear. Donald Trump does not have the authority to take us into war with Iran without congressional approval. A president should never take this nation to war without the informed consent. He also, during a Dem debate, said that we would not be in political wars. But we see all of that as a lie. Congress, where are you? Get on your job. We got all of these wars going on. It's the Ukraine, now it's Yemen. We are funding the slaughter of Palestinians by Israel in the Middle East. All of these things being done in our name. Congress, stand up and get a backbone.
Well, you heard that. Now, also, let me give you this last one, and I'll toss it back to you guys. I also reached out to foreign policy expert Dr. Lamont Hill. And again, directing folks, he's been on the Breakfast Club before. You guys need to check out that interview. But I wanted to know his opinion and what this looks like, you know, and how it affects, you know, us overall and the future. This is what he had to say.
President Biden's decision to bomb Yemen was unauthorized and illegal, but it was also really, really dangerous. By escalating things in Yemen, it is going to only enrage other Shia groups around the region. We could see a full-scale war in the Middle East. This teaches us, as history always has, that violence leads to more violence. If Biden had used that same energy to negotiate a ceasefire, to demand that Israel stop bombing and sieging Gaza, then we wouldn't be looking at potentially World War III and, honestly, a political climate that makes Donald Trump and the Republicans seem reasonable and patient by comparison.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Last night, my good sister Angela Rye and I were up at MSNBC to do a Joy Reid show, and we got preempted because of the U.S. airstrikes. And there is nothing that raises anxiety levels like being in a newsroom when something like this happens, because as we're walking through the hall, and the MSNBC employee that's walking with us was getting alerts about World War III, like how Mark just referenced. And I was like, well, what's happening? Did somebody drop off a nuke or something? So it's just like, yeah, Mark is you know, he's absolutely right. Like, and it's amazing how when it comes to things we actually need, we can't ever get it because we can't get congressional approval. But when they want to do something, they'll bypass congressional approval every time. Every time.
And they were saying it affects us a lot on the local level. For people that say, well, how does this affect us every day? They're saying that if Iran jumps in, which they are assuming will happen, that the prices of gasoline will shoot up ridiculous amounts. So they were saying where barrels are like $68 a barrel, it could get close to $100 a barrel, which means that, you know, you're going to be paying $7, $8 a gallon for gas.
Well, Iran already said they're ready to respond to U.S. aggression.
Yep.
So.
And it's also important to know, guys, that Republicans have backed this, just so folks can keep up with the partisan who's doing what. So progressives are speaking against this, saying that, again, you did this out of order. But some Republicans are showing support for this, saying they welcome this and that it's long overdue. That came from Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. So they are in totally supportive of this as well.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Okay.
Did you say? What did you say?
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Mitch McConnell.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Now, I seen about an hour. What we talking about, Taz?
Yeah, folks, come back. We got to break down the closing arguments in Trump's civil fraud case. You know, we talked about him speaking in court. He did speak in court. So we'll be breaking that down for you guys at 7.
All right. Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Again, 800-585-1051. And I just want to salute this couple out in New York, Long Island. They just celebrated their 80th wedding anniversary.
Damn.
80th wedding anniversary.
How old are they?
He's 103. She's 102.
Oh, man, I pray to God to get that
80th
kind
anniversary.
of life.
What?
I pray to God to get that kind of long life.
80th.
I really do. That's something I put in the air every day. I would
Absolutely.
love to live to be 103, be married for 80 plus years.
That's right.
I just need my brain and my penis to still work, man. That's it. I need my brain and my penis to still work. That's all I need, man.
Okay. All right. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Start off with some quick sports. The Browns play the Texans tomorrow. Steelers take on the Bills Sunday at 1. Dolphins take on the Chiefs at 8. And the Cowboys play the Packers at 4:30.
Say that with your chest, man.
I was going to say something
say that with
foul,
more, say
but
that
my
with more
team
energy.
ain't playing, so I'm just going to be polite and nice. The Cowboys take on the Packers at 4:30.
Yeah, don't let the devil use you this morning. You know what I mean? Let us let me and my team cook on Sunday, 4:30 p.m.
Right.
Cowboys, the road to the Super Bowl starts for us on Sunday at 4:30, baby, against those Green Bay Fudge Packers.
Oh, boy. Well, good luck to you. What's up, Tez?
Good morning, DJ Envy. Good morning, Charlamagne the God. Let's talk a little bit about Trump yesterday in his closing arguments in his civil fraud trial in New York. Let's take a listen to the report.
Former President Donald Trump took time off the campaign trail today for closing arguments in his civil fraud trial in New York City, where he is accused of falsifying financial documents for a decade. CBS's Robert Costa is outside the courthouse.
With his businesses in New York at risk, and after a long day in court, former President Donald Trump arrived at one of his New York properties to speak to reporters.
We have our best poll numbers, we have the best everything despite this, and maybe because of this.
With just days before the Iowa caucuses, Trump says his legal challenges here in New York and elsewhere are now part of the campaign trail.
Are you planning to show up in court
Yeah, I want to go to all of my trials.
Now, during court, we talked about this the other day about would he pull a Nino Brown, and you can pretty much say that he did. I wish they had audio where we could actually hear what happened in court, but I'll just break it down quickly. The judge did allow him to speak. He spoke from the defense table with his comments, and pretty much similar to what he said public, all year, which is about it being a witch hunt. After several minutes, Judge Engoron interrupted and said, 1 minute only. Trump responded to the judge, "You have your own agenda. I understand that." So basically told the judge that he has an agenda. The judge then had to tell his attorney to please control your client. He said, and Trump went on to say, "Your Honor, I did nothing wrong. They should pay me for what I've had to go through." Now, he walked out the courtroom while the state was still finishing their closing argument, went to his 40 Wall Street building, pumping his fist in the air. His supporters were cheering him on, and then he addressed the media and made remarks about New York Attorney General Letitia James. Take a listen.
And all politically motivated. She campaigned on "I will get Trump." If you've ever seen any of her clips, they're horrible clips, actually. The anger, she's got serious Trump derangement syndrome. There's no question about Letitia James, the corrupt Attorney General of New York.
Trump derangement syndrome is hilarious.
That is crazy.
Y'all never.
No, I've heard them say that before. Trump derangement syndrome, but it's just hilarious.
Yeah, and so he talks about it like it's a real disease. New York Attorney General Letitia James, she says she is unbothered by his comments. Let's take a listen.
This case has never been about politics, or personal vendetta, or about name calling. This case is about the facts and the law. And Mr. Donald Trump violated the law. I trust that justice will be done.
I don't think nobody is unbothered by Donald Trump. I think that's impossible. I think it's impossible to be unbothered by Donald Trump because it's always surreal to me that a man can be dealing with all these criminal and civil cases and still be running for president of the United States of America. Not just running, but actually busting President Biden's ass in the polls. And I was wondering if they will ever amend the Constitution to prevent things like this from happening in the future. I know in regards to the insurrection, there's the 14th Amendment, but I'm talking something else that says if you're dealing with all these criminal, cases, you can't run for the highest office in the land. I know this is just a civil case we're talking about, but I'm just saying, like, if you're dealing with all these criminal cases, you can't run for the highest office in the land.
The only problem is if you're supposed to be not guilty,
innocent until proven
guilty, right? So that kind of takes from that.
Yeah, but how about you should prove your guilt first? Prove your innocence first. For the run for president, because how can you simultaneously care about what's going on with the American people when you got so much else going on in your personal life?
But you can charge. Well, you can't charge, but you can sue anybody for anything civilly, and people can be charged wrongly. Wrongly accused for anything.
Yeah, but 91 criminal charges when you running for president of the United States of America. I'm talking about. Think about the circumstances. This ain't no normal position that he's running for. He's running for president of the United States of America.
But if you take Trump out of it and you put another president that people just don't like, maybe the government just don't like, the government could just create false charges to make sure that person don't run.
Hey,
and then you got to worry about that.
Sure, but if you got 91 criminal charges, 91,
right?
Come on, man.
Well, sound like y'all need to be on the House floor debating that. Maybe that's something they can look into. Congress has the ability to change laws. So if they think that's something should happen, they can do that. I just want to remind people that the Iowa caucus is Monday. So this is, it'll end pretty late, starts around 7 o'clock. Now, caucuses are very different. You're not just going in and just selecting somebody. So they actually have to convince other voters. So this is where we get to see, put up or shut up, who's going to be voting for who. We'll be covering that on Monday to see how they determine who they want to be their Republican nominee. No more polls. It gets real on Monday.
I don't know what's going to happen. Like, that's why they say you always got to play the game. But I hope Nikki Haley wins the Iowa caucus, because then I hope that would make the GOP say, you know what? This might be our person. Let's get away from all this baggage. Let's get away from the person with 91 criminal charges and all these civil cases, and put our hitch our wagon to something that got a lot less baggage.
And just to add on to that, when you talk about the 91 cases, when you heard Trump earlier in the clip say that he plans on going to all of his court dates, and just for the folks to know, there are 25 legal political dates as of now that start from January 8th. Going all the way into August 5th.
And so you got to simultaneously do that and campaign to be president of the United States of America. When you hear him talk and he's not talking about, legislation, when he's not talking about policies he wants to implement, it's because he's preoccupied, people.
But he's never talked about legislation and policies he wanted to implement before.
Yes, he did. Build the wall.
That's all he ever said.
Okay? Build the wall.
That's all he ever said.
America first.
There you
okay?
go.
We know what those things mean. All right?
All right.
And let me just say this clearly, because I want to make sure when I say 25 dates, those are not all dates. Those are like filing motions, going to court, anything around anything legal. There's 25.
Right.
That's correct. From January 8th all the way to
with everything going on in America, I need somebody that's really highly focused on America and can really micromanage what's going on in this country and around the world. You can't have somebody who's preoccupied with civil, not even just civil, the criminal cases more than anything. Like, no.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that is Front Page News. Thank you, Tiz.
Absolutely. You guys have a great weekend.
You
Peace,
too.
Tiz, and make sure you subscribe to Tezlyn Figaro's podcast, The Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network, and follow at Tezlyn Figaro on all social media platforms.
All right. When we come back, Benny the Butcher will be joining us. His album comes out January 26th. Everybody Can't Go. And we're going to chop it up with him next. So don't move. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.